Donald Trump has enjoyed front-runner status before last night's debate in South Carolina. A few candidates, though, including Marco Rubio and Governor Christie, vying to become the official alternative. Watch as they make their best case from last night.
We're going to raise it to 30%. Plus, we're going to raise the income tax to 30%. Now you got Europe. We're not doing that.
Why should individuals pay 35% instead of 10%?
Maria, I'd like to interrupt this debate on the floor of the Senate to actually answer the question you asked, which was on entitlements. Do you remember that, everybody? This was a question on entitlements.
Oh, I'll answer
the reason, now you already had your chance, Marco, you blew it.
I could keep on watching this all day long. Ed Rollins has a nose for this stuff, all of it. He ran Ronald Reagan's re-election campaign in 1984, Mike Huckabee in 2008, Fox News contributor.
Pleasure.
How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Lot to go through. You say this was not a debate, it was a back alley brawl.
Well, I think the bottom line is the contrast with the president, who's being perceived as weak and gave a terrible State of the Union speech. I think our Republicans all came to the game to show they're going to be a tough, strong leader, and I think that to a certain extent they came full bore.
I didn't see any low blows there.
Well, there was not. I'm not talking about low blows. You can have a street fight without going low blows.
Yeah, I guess you could. Right? Hit him in the face. But even then, I think these guys, this is their world. This is where they live.
I think to a certain extent they are relating to ordinary people out there who are very frustrated with what's going on.
No question about that. Cruz and Rubio, what do you think?
They're both superb debaters, and they both. You'd think they didn't like each other, but I think they do. I think they differ on some points. They clearly are the ones that have to break out here. I think right at this point in time, it's Cruz and Trump leading in Iowa. Rubio's moving on fast. Rubio obviously is the guy going for the establishment vote on the other side, for New Hampshire, what have you. So,
how did Jeb Bush do last night?
You know, Jeb did better than he did normally, but I think again, he's the gentleman. He's giving the intellectual answers to emotional issues, and I think to a certain extent.
So the emotion, in your view, is breaking through.
Well,
the intellect is not.
Definitely. It's like his father against Dukakis. Dukakis was arguing you could burn the flag. His father said you can't burn the flag. Most Americans didn't think you could burn a flag, and so you can't give an intellectual answer to an emotional issue, and we're now in a very emotional battle.
Keep moving down the line here. John Kasich, Dr. Ben Carson.
Ben Carson basically is I think finished. Both his campaign is coming apart, and he looked totally out of place on that stage last night, and I think he'll diminish very quickly. John is a very smart guy. He keeps acting like I don't want to be on a stage with a bunch of fools. They don't know what I know, and I think to a certain extent he gave good answers. But I think he's kind of the past and not the present.
Circle back to Donald Trump. What is your view of him as a candidate today?
He's a much better candidate than I thought he would be. I was a doubter like everybody else when it started. Every time he made a mistake that I thought was a mistake, I thought he was going to be done. I think he's the personification of a strong leader today, a personality, and I think people are starting to rally around that. I don't know how far he's going to go, but at this point in time, he's dominated this thing from the beginning, and I think he's going to continue to dominate.
Well, has he shown you that he has the ability to dial it back?
No, absolutely not, and I'm not sure he will. But I think at this point in time, this is a red hot election, and I'm not sure at this point in time, until there's a challenger and he gets one-on-one on the stage, as it often does, he's going to reinforce his own supporters, and he has more supporters than anybody else right now.
Let me be a little more specific.
Sure.
I am told by those who were in the room last night that when Trump was talking about the towers on 9/11. He practically whispered his answer. And that is contrarian to how he has been typically.
I think that's a very emotional issue for him. I think he clearly was very much a part of the cleanup. I think he basically feels great passion, as most of those New Yorkers, and I'm exclude myself in this, do it with that particular day. And I think it was a real touching point for his campaign.
Do you think there are parts of the Republican establishment, Lindsey Graham clearly excluded in this argument here, that are being drawn to him, however reluctantly, now? Yes or no?
I think some are thinking it's the inevitable. He may be the inevitable nominee. We better be careful. So I think they thought he would self-destruct. I think now they're beginning to think he may be our nominee, and we have to run with him. And I think that's where a lot of this is coming.
What do you think, Ed?
I think he's got a better than 50-50 chance.
51-49?
I'd say that at a minimum.
Yeah, from a pugilist. Thank you.
That's a win.
Right on. That's a win. Ed Rollins, thank you for your time today.
Take care.
Talk to you.